Hey guys, this is Two Kids in a Trench Coat, a football podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Jacob Rosenfarm.
I'm your other host, Ryan Sharp. Unfortunately, we are sans Josh tonight.
It's a shame, it really is.
Yeah, we miss Josh, but we also still like football, so we're still going to talk about it.
Still got to persevere.
So this is week 2 of our new format, doing 2 podcasts a week, the recap and then the preview. This is our week 8 preview. It's Wednesday night, so you'll probably hear this Thursday. So let's talk about Thursday Night Football. Dolphins traveling to Houston. What do you make of this game?
I think I'm really excited to see this game. I think Brock Osweiler, third game as Dolphins starter. I'm curious to see. I think he's had one really impressive game and one kind of disappointing one. I'm curious to see where this averages out to. But how about you as a Dolphins fan? What are you expecting from your team on Thursday night?
I mean, of course I have high hopes, like I always do. But at the same time, realistically, just based off what happened to the Dolphins last week in terms of losing Albert Wilson now for the season, and Kenny Stills is not going to play tomorrow either. I just think that's going to be real tough for even with a starting quarterback without those weapons. So when it's Brock Osweiler, sure he's been all right these past couple of weeks, but I'm inclined to think that they'll really struggle offensively tomorrow.
Yeah, I think the Texans' defense has really taken a couple steps forward as the season's progressed. On a 4-game win streak gotten a worst to first, as we talked about in yesterday's podcast, of the Texans they're revamping their season. It's been really impressive.
Yep, that is very true. Like we said, the Tyrann Mathieu insurance policy has really paid dividends for them, and I expect them to probably pull out this win tomorrow against Miami.
I think so, but I don't know. We might be giving a little bit too much faith to Bill O'Brien.
That is true.
I could definitely see this being a kind of scrappy, weird kind of Thursday night game with Brocktober still in full effect.
That would be cool for me.
I would not be shocked. I'm not gonna lie. I think this Texans defense is legit, but Thursday night brings out the wonkiness.
That is true. I think the Dolphins are going to be running the ball a lot because, like we said, just missing 2 of their star wide receivers. So it's time for that tandem of Frank Gore and Kenyon Drake to really get things going. Drake had a nice long touchdown run against the Lions. Gore had a 100-yard game against the Bears. So it looks like they're starting to get it together. So it'll be cool to see what it looks like when they have a much heavier workload than they have in weeks past.
Definitely. I mean, I'm a little worried about your offensive line, been kind of ravaged by injuries like much of your team has. But I'm curious to see how they're able to manipulate this Texans defense, which I think is really talented. Has a lot of really verifiable studs on that team.
Yep. This is the same offensive line, believe it or not, that held Khalil Mack to 0 sacks.
Juwan James, former player of the week.
Yep. That's still wild to me. So we'll have to see how they do against the Texans. So I guess that means it's time to make our picks for this particular game. Who you got?
This one's going to be, I think, a closer fought battle than a lot of people anticipate, but I think the Texans pull this one out at home. How about you?
I'll definitely be rooting for the Dolphins, but I think the Texans realistically win this game.
I would not be shocked, though, to see a Brocktober returns.
That would be funny just because, the Texans dropped all that money on Brock and then traded him, so that's funny.
Yeah, that would be incredible. Moving on, though, we have another London game this week taking place at 6:30 a.m. West Coast time. It is between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Sharp, what are your thoughts on this game?
I definitely think this is going to be a sloppy game just based off of what we've seen from these two teams the past couple of weeks. Obviously, the Eagles blowing the lead to the Panthers, and then the Jags have just seemed to have fallen apart since that win over the Patriots. Obviously, the blowout by Dallas a couple weeks ago, and another loss last week. So I'm not sure what to think of this game, if we're being honest. Bortles was named the starter for Jacksonville, so I don't know. He is on a short leash. I'm not sure what to expect from Blake Bortles. Just probably bad. I think the Eagles are just better all around, even though they've had their own struggles this season. They just look so much better than Jacksonville does, which is a shame to say because we were super excited for this Jacksonville team coming into the season. And even during the season, it just seems like it's all gone downhill.
It really has. It's so disappointing. But I think both these teams are mashing the panic button. I think they were itching towards it last week or 2 weeks ago, and they have officially entered panic time because I don't know. I think this is probably a must-win for both these teams, which is never where you want to be.
And if there is a team between these two that is more capable of navigating through panic mode, it is the Eagles.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah, the infrastructure's in place there just the way it's not in Jacksonville. And most notably with the quarterback position. I mean, one's options are are Blake Bortles and Cody Kesslers, and the other teams is Carson Wentz and Nick Foles. Like, clearly one has kind of the quarterback situation figured out, and one doesn't.
Yeah, that is 100% true. And honestly, I think that's probably as far as we'll have to look for this particular game.
Yeah.
We can go more in depth. Jacksonville defense, I don't know what to think of them either. Just they gave up 40 points to Dallas.
Cowboys, yeah. They have not looked the same at all. I think we have not seen the same sort of penetration we've seen in previous years from this defensive line. I think Calais Campbell, I don't want to say he's taking a step back, but maybe he's not playing up to the dominant performance we've seen from him in past years. Malik Jackson not really there. So I'm curious to see how this Jacksonville defense evolves as the year going forward, because I really want them to return to that elite form.
I would like to see that too, but based off these last couple of weeks, I am inclined to think that will not be the case, at least not this week. So just given that the Eagles have a more competent offense, I think they score enough points to win this game.
I think we've been harping on this week after week. It feels like with these London games, good coaching really shines through. And while I may not be the biggest Doug Peterson fan, I am taking him 10 times out of 10 over Doug Marrone.
100%.
So I like the Eagles in this game. How about you?
I like the Eagles as well. I just don't think Jacksonville has it all together. I don't know what's going on, but I think the Eagles at least know what they're doing and know what they have to do to get better. Jacksonville, I don't see that.
I couldn't agree more.
So I am picking the Eagles.
I'm extremely here for that. So tell me, what game you want to go to next?
Let's head to Kansas City. The Broncos traveling there to take on the Chiefs. Kansas City coming off of that huge win over Cincinnati on Sunday Night Football, 45-10. And Denver is coming off of their backup quarterback being arrested for entering somebody else's house while under the influence. That being Chad Kelly. He was released this morning.
Only player, not only player, I take that back, but probably the only player we know for sure who's been kicked off their high school, college, and NFL teams. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. So quite the accomplishment by Chad Kelly.
Yeah.
This game, though, I think this could be a lot like the Broncos game last week where they beat up on the Cardinals, but the Broncos will be the ones getting beat up. The only thing, though, is this Chiefs defense is still not that great.
Suspect, I think, would be putting it kindly.
Yep. I mean, we saw what they did against Andy Dalton. They seemed to shut him down pretty well, but was that an anomaly, or are they going to go back to regular Chiefs defense?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Case Keenum's not that big of an improvement over Andy Dalton, so they can put up that sort of performance against him and the weapons that he has, Tyler Boyd, A.J. Green, then I think they could probably do it against Emmanuel Sanders and Demaryius Thomas.
Yeah, that is true.
The thing, though, is I think this game will actually be a lot more closely contested than either of these team previous matchups, just because this is the second time they played this year. They kind of have already a familiarity with each other, division rivals, and even though this is Pat Mahomes' first year in the division, Andy Reid's still running the same sort of script he was with Alex Smith, just a lot more electric.
So the Broncos do know what they're doing.
Exactly. I think the Broncos have some semblance of an idea of what's coming here. And so I think this game's going to be a lot more competitive than people are giving it credit for.
I'm just not too sure about that. I just think the Chiefs are too good.
Yeah.
Obviously, no disrespect against the Broncos. They're a solid football team as well, but you just look at these two teams and one is so much better than the other.
One just has so much more talent.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think we're probably both in agreement here. Chiefs take this one.
Yep.
I think I'm picking it to be a little closer than you are. I assume. I think this might be only a touchdown between these two.
See, I'm thinking like at least a touchdown.
Interesting. Okay, I think we might be in for a good one here, but let's just you never know. I've been let down many times by Vance Joseph.
Yeah, me too.
But moving on. Next game, let's tackle Browns heading to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers.
I originally did like the Browns in this game, but you brought up the very good point that the Steelers are coming off the bye week. Coming
off the bye week, get to play Hugh Jackson.
Yeah.
Still against a rookie quarterback. I don't know. The deck seems stacked against Cleveland here.
Yeah. And Pittsburgh is still a tough place to play, especially as a rookie. So, Steelers definitely have more talent in this game, but we have seen some crazy things this season. Obviously, that tie week 1.
Yeah.
Still no Le'Veon for the Steelers. He was expected to show, but still hasn't. So if he does end up showing up in the next couple days, I don't think he plays this week.
Yeah, me either. That'd be wild, though.
So that kind of helps the Browns, kind of similar to how the Broncos are held because this is the second time playing the Chiefs. I'm not sure how much it really helps, though.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think that much. I think the situations, the field's kind of flipped on this one. We're back in Pittsburgh, like we said. Steelers had the bye week. Browns coming off this emotional loss. Against the Bucks. Yeah, I really like the Steelers in this one. I think I would love to see a return to form from Big Ben, Antonio Brown, James Conner once again running all over fools. I think the Steelers offense comes out in a big way.
Yeah. I could see the Browns winning this if they somehow channel that emotion from last week and turn it into like we just lost a fluky game to a bad team. Let's go out and beat a good one. But they have to do everything right, and I don't know if they can do that. And even if they do, the Steelers are probably still better all around.
Sure.
And which automatically makes them good enough to beat this Browns team.
I agree, but the stage is set for an absolutely monster Baker game, if we're being honest.
Mm-hmm.
Steelers defense is not that great. I think they are lacking in true impact players. Baker, emotions riding high, division game, not first real test, but a real benchmark for his rookie season. Going into Pittsburgh and taking a dub, that'd be huge. This would be a season-defining victory for the Browns.
Of course, even if it's their last win of the season.
Yeah, really.
Then that's all that matters. Baker beat the Steelers in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, really. Yeah. Going 1-0-1 against the Steelers in your rookie year, that'd be pretty impressive.
Yeah, he didn't start that first game.
I mean, but he's still there, part of the team, I guess. Yeah. But okay, so it is one start against the Steelers.
Yeah. You know what else would be fun though? Another tie.
Another tie would be fantastic. That would be great.
Yeah. The Browns have played 4 overtime games so far.
5 overtime.
5 overtime games.
5 overtime games. That's insane.
Yeah.
The NFL record is 6.
So just based off precedent, it's likely to happen again.
If we were odds makers, I think the odds are in favor of another overtime, which is insane.
Which means, just more potential for another tie.
I love it. I love it so much. That's all I really want is a team with multiple ties, and this is a ripe opportunity.
Yep. So are you ready? Well, we should make our picks for this game first. I think we both have it established, though, that the Steelers are the better team and the likely winners of this game.
Steelers taking home this one, I think, as fun as a Baker moment would be, I don't think it's coming this week.
No, not this week. Maybe next year.
Yeah, or maybe not.
Or maybe later in the season he'll have another proving moment.
I think so. I think a Baker moment is in the works, but probably not this week.
Yeah, no. So now we're ready to move on. We have the Redskins traveling to New Jersey to take on the New York Football Giants.
Shout out to producer Josh. That is his preferred name of the football team that resides in New York/New Jersey.
Well, the one that wears blue at least.
Exactly. Exactly.
Anyway, I don't know what to. I feel like I say I don't know what to make of this game a lot. Eli obviously bad. Saquon good.
Yeah.
The Giants though seem to have the fire sale going. They traded Eli Apple this week. Traded Snacks this morning. So
yeah, that was really depressing for me. And honest. He's really good, and they only got a 5th for him. That's or maybe it was a 4th. I'm sorry, but either way, that's not what you're looking for I think an at least Pro Bowl, questionable All-Pro level defensive tackle.
Yeah, it's just weird because literally last night we were talking about how if the Giants add a quarterback, they have all the pieces there to put out a playoff team. Well, not all the pieces, but a good chunk of them.
Yeah, they have something there.
And now they're just dismantling it. I know Eli Apple had other issues.
Yeah, I don't hate the Eli Apple trade.
I don't either.
As much as this one. A 5th. Sorry, just to correct everybody, it was a 5th. Go on.
Yeah. So. A fire sale when you have pieces just seems weird to me.
Yeah. Could OBJ be next?
Man, maybe.
That'd be kind of cool.
That would be kind of cool. But it seems like you could replace one or you could replace 53, and it's just easy to replace one. I don't know why they... I don't want to say they're rebuilding, but that's certainly what it seems like. I don't know why they would do that when they're literally a quarterback away from a good team.
Okay, let's think about this for a sec, though. Do you think... Who says no here? Odell Beckham Jr. for the Eagles first. Who says no?
The Giants.
Wow, why?
I don't think they trade him in the division.
Okay, that's the question there.
And I don't know how valuable that Eagles first is going to be.
Yeah, you're
just assuming they win this division with 8 or 9 wins. You're looking at like the 20th pick. Maybe they win a playoff game. That knocks them back even more.
Exactly.
I just don't think the Giants are willing to part with Odell Beckham for a mediocre draft pick, especially when you're trading him to someone in the same division as you.
You think they would have traded him to the Cowboys?
I think that's a little more likely.
Okay, me too. I would hate to see, not hate to see, I think I'd be loath to see trades within that division. I just don't think it would happen. I don't know. I think they'd be too petty and too worried about it coming back to bite them in the butt.
Yeah, that's just one of, the rivalries in that division definitely go back a long way. They're one of the more classic rivalries, up there with, Bears, Packers, along those lines.
Yeah.
So for teams that just hate each other that much, to give them assets, that seems unlikely.
It seems icky. I think each team would leave the trade feeling a little uncleanly.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that's just my perspective. I don't think it would ever happen.
No.
But going back to the Giants, not looking too optimistic there for the Giants. I don't know how do you think they fare in this game though? How do you think this one plays out?
They are at home going against a mediocre Redskins team, but they also went against that mediocre Eagles team a couple weeks ago and lost pretty bad. So I'm not too sure what to think. I think it's going to be a lot of Saquon again, just like it has been every week, and that's fine. I love watching him run the ball, so I'm okay with that. I'm sure there's a lot of fans that are like, this sucks just in the season already, but yeah, I don't think the Giants do too great, but I think they keep it closer than they have in weeks past.
I can get behind that. I think this may come to bite me in the butt because Alex Smith is still below average, but I think the Redskins might be kind of good. I think their defense is really slept on. I really like the pieces they've collected over there. And I think their offense is competent enough to make up for Alex Smith deficiencies. And so I think that combo pack, I don't know. I think they're going to be frisky in basically every game they play.
Are you thinking playoffs?
I think they might be a playoff team, yeah.
Division or wild card?
See, division. I don't think they get the wild card. I think
they're bad enough that they don't get the wild card.
Exactly.
But they beat out the Eagles on some.
I don't think the NFC East is good enough to put 2 teams in the playoffs, but I think the Skins could nab that NFC East crown.
Yeah. I suppose they'd have to beat the Eagles twice, but.
I mean, they have the division lead currently.
Yeah, so maybe just one win over the Eagles.
Exactly.
Never know.
If they just split their series with them, I think they could win the division.
Yep, that is very true. Sorry to say that, Josh. Josh is an Eagles fan and he's not here. So.
Yeah, can't even defend his own team, but that's okay. I think moving on to picks for this game, I think Washington pulls this one out. I think Washington goes on the road and takes down the Giants.
Yeah, I know I said the Giants could stay in it, but I did not say they would win. I think that would belong to Washington. I think they take this one.
Moving on, though, I think, what game you want to tackle next?
Let's hit on the Seahawks traveling to Detroit to take on the Lions. Lions coming off a win over the Dolphins. Pretty impressive day from Matt Stafford.
There you go.
Keeps patting those stats. Kerryon Johnson.
Yeah.
Another great day.
152, right? 157, something like
Over
that.
150 yards from scrimmage. So great day from him. And the Lions are at home. So I think this will be a good game against, we have 2 mediocre teams, but one seems to be a little better than the other.
Yeah, this is going to be actually kind of a pretty enticing game, I think. I think this is going to be a pretty good matchup of 2 converging styles. I think the Seahawks are going to want to play ground and pound and play action football with Russell Wilson, and the Lions are going to want to air it out. They have some weapons, and they're going to want to use them.
Yep. The Lions defense sacked Brock Osweiler 4 times last week. Now I know Russell Wilson is much more mobile than Brock Osweiler is, but with that Seahawks offensive line and 4 sacks last week, I'm inclined to think they'll be in the backfield frequently again.
I would have to think so. I think the Seahawks offensive line is even worse than the Dolphins, and so I think they have a lot of really intriguing pieces along there. I think Ziggy Ansah is really not taking that next step, but kind of reasserting himself as one of the more established pass rushers in the league. And so, yeah, I'm curious to see how far this Lions defense can take them, because I feel like this isn't a unit they've had for a long time.
No, and to me, this game comes down to their ability to contain Russell Wilson. Because they have the weapons on offense with Golden Tate, Marvin Jones, Michael Roberts, the tight end who had a breakout game last week, plus Kerryon Johnson on the ground. I think they have the offensive pieces to take a lead. It's just a matter of their defense protecting it. And if they can keep Russell Wilson contained, I think the Lions have a real good shot at winning this game.
I agree. I couldn't agree more. Yeah, I think this is going to be a pretty hotly contested one. I think to talk more about the Seahawks, their defense is not quite at the level we've seen in past years with the obvious injuries to Earl Thomas and the departures of Richard Sherman. It's basically only Bobby Wagner that's still there, and former top 3 pick Deion Jordan.
Yeah, Deion Jordan, former Dolphins first-round pick. They traded up to get him.
Yep.
So that's fun. But it's obviously not the defense they're used to having, and they've looked like they've struggled in games this year. So
yeah, not the best appearance from the Seahawks defense thus far, and one might hope they could turn it on this week. But going to Detroit in a dome, I kind of like Matt Stafford to light it up once again.
Yep. If we're moving on to picks, I am not definitely, but I think the Lions win this game. I'm going to pick them.
Me too. I think Detroit pulls this one out, and relatively handedly. So, I think we both have Detroit dubs in this one.
Yep. So moving on now, Tampa Bay Buccaneers traveling to Cincinnati, playing the Bengals. Bengals coming off that rough loss to the Chiefs, 45-10. And the Bucs coming off of that wild win over Cleveland in overtime. Catanzaro knocking through the 59-yard kick as time pretty much expired in overtime to squeeze out the win.
Yeah, two pretty different weeks too.
Yeah.
And I think I might flip this one in this coming week. I could definitely see a Bengals blowout if we're being honest.
Yeah, Bengals blowout. They're obviously at this point probably super pissed with that walk-off loss to the Steelers and then the last second overtime what am I talking about? The blowout to the Chiefs. Plus, they're back at home, and Tampa just seems to have fallen apart. Even last week, it didn't seem like they deserved to win that game. They just happened to have the ball last.
Yeah, really.
So, plus, just Bengals all around. Andy Dalton is still... He's not great, but he's serviceable. And Tyler Boyd, A.J. Green, having good seasons.
Exactly. Coming back home, I think they'll be able to rest and recover and really be able to beat up on just a piss-poor football team.
Yeah, this is a game where you take advantage of having those elite receivers and just keep throwing it to them because there's not going to be a lot of stopping them.
I couldn't agree more. Yep. I think big games for Joe Mixon in the works, big games for A.J. Green, Andy Dalton putting up some numbers because, this Bucs defense is not... I think we talked about this thing last week. Our initial evaluation of the Bucs, I think, was spot on, and I think we were a little thrown off by their week 3 actions, by their Fitzmagic, and now they've kind of come back to earth.
Yeah, the Bucs we thought we were getting are the Bucs we ended up getting.
This seems like a 2-14 football team.
Yep.
So not liking what I'm seeing in Tampa Bay. So. I think, don't correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we're both picking the Bengals in this one.
I am picking the Bengals in this one, especially at home.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a good day for Bengals fantasy owners.
Yep.
For sure.
Are you a Bengals fantasy owner?
I started Andy Dalton last week in one of my leagues, so not ideal.
Rough.
I know. Still beat Ryan Ladica, though, by 0.4 points, and that's all that really matters.
That's impressive because Ryan Ladica was undefeated up to that point.
Don't like to brag, but took down the case of the chubby butts.
Yeah. It's okay, though, because there was a scoregami, which is his favorite thing ever.
This is, I think, the third Ryan Ladica mentioned in 4 podcasts.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty impressive.
We need to get him in here at some point.
We do. Yeah, screw Jeff. We need Ryan Ladica on the pod.
Yeah, Jeff wants to come on the podcast, too.
Jeff does.
Jeff from Man to Man.
Let us know, listeners, if you want Jeff. We will take every message we get as a yes and every silence we get as a no that you don't want Jeff. So, moving on, though. What game excites you next, Sharp?
Next up is the Jets and the Bears. Sam Darnold coming off kind of a rough week. Mitchell Trubisky coming off a good week with his legs, but that tough loss to the Patriots couldn't convert on that Hail Mary at the end of the game. But yeah, so kind of a disappointing loss to the Bears. I think they were in that game for most of it and came down to an awesome final play and just weren't able to convert. But special teams, Patriots special teams, like we said yesterday,
just better than everyone else.
Yep.
Better than everyone else. But yeah, staying at home, hosting the Jets this week, another AFC East foe. How do you think this one plays out?
I think similar to last week, like when we said the Vikings defense would give Sam Darnold fits, and that is what they did. I think this Bears defense is probably ranked up there in the top 5 with the Vikings, and I think that kind of happens again, especially with it being in Chicago. I think the Bears defense really takes advantage of the rookie quarterback.
I agree on that one. I don't think I'm not quite as optimistic on the Bears defense as I think you might be. I think I'm more thinking of them as a top 10 unit rather than a top 5. But yeah, at home, Darnold traveling there. I think this is going to be probably another rough day for him, which is kind of disappointing.
Yeah, I agree. I was excited to see Sam Darnold, kind of light it up in those first couple of weeks, and it just seems to have regressed. I would say a lot of that, though, has to do with the schedule.
Yeah, exactly.
He's just playing some tough teams.
Exactly.
And as a rookie, and this Jets team around him still has a lot of question marks.
Yeah.
So, kind of unfortunate for Darnold, just given his surroundings and the schedule.
Definitely. Coming up, though, they have the Dolphins next week and then the Bills and the Pats. So, hopefully... Now, maybe the Bills of that are probably the one of those three that scares you the most.
Yeah, with the strongest defense.
But none of that. I mean, they just gave up 37 points to the Colts, so it's not. They are not they're not a truly elite unit quite yet. Maybe as much as I proclaim them to be. But getting back to this specific game, I bet we see a slightly better game from Darnold though than we saw last week. Even though he's on the road, I think the Bears aren't quite in that upper echelon of defenses, and I'd really like to see him exploit some of their weaknesses. I don't know. I'm still not sold on their corners. I think Prince Amakamura is a talented corner, but if he's your number one, I'm still questionable on that. So I'd love to see someone like Robbie Anderson really go off for a great game. But yeah, I'm optimistic about an all right Sam Darnold day.
Yeah, I mean, I think optimistic is a great word to describe that, just because I do not think that's really in the picture here. Maybe better than the Vikings last week, but a good day from Sam Darnold seems unlikely to me.
Yeah, I guess that's I don't want you to be able to talk me out of it, but yeah, I'm not putting huge money on a great day from Darnold here, but I think he's competent. I think he's probably he's not throwing 3 picks again. I feel confident in saying that. I don't think he throws 3 picks again. I think he probably throws more than 1 touchdown, but overall, probably not a great game for Darnold. But who do you have winning this one?
I think the Bears are going to win this. I just think, they put up 31 against the Patriots last week. This Jets defense, I would say, is maybe equal to the Patriots, and that is just not very good. So I think the Bears are going to be the team that puts up points, and Darnold and the Jets offense struggle against this Bears defense.
Man, we are agreeing way too much. But yeah, I think the Bears pull this one out. I think they are probably really pissed off after a frustrating loss last week, and I think they might take a lot of their frustrations out on the Jets. The one, just to play devil's advocate, though, this Jets defense is still a pretty solid unit. And honestly, right now, I think Trubisky is a worse quarterback than Darnold. And so if Trubisky's able to have another one of those rough games, if he puts forward a performance like he put forward last week, except without his efficiency running the ball, a Jets upset is not out of the question.
Yeah, you're right, not out of the question, but...
unlikely.
Not really sure. In the question either.
All right, I guess. Okay, let's move on to the final 10 a.m. game, or 1 o'clock for you East Coasters. The Ravens traveling to Carolina take on the Panthers.
Yeah, you just talked about a frustrating loss last week for the Bears, perhaps an even more frustrating loss for the Ravens, as Justin Tucker kicked the extra point and pushed it wide to the right. That's his first career missed extra point, and it cost the Ravens the game.
Yeah, that was honestly, when I say unbelievable, just and the idea that Justin Tucker would miss his first career extra point in one of the most important ones of his career, just a game-tying extra point. That's how, of all the extra points to miss, it's incredible that's it.
Yep. And, of course, the Panthers putting on that awesome fourth-quarter comeback against the Eagles. Were down 17-0, went ahead to win that one.
Yeah, that was really impressive. I think we saw a lot of the Cam that game. I think that was some poise we haven't seen since 2015.
Yep, and I think we're going to get that Cam again this week. I think we kept joking that Cam is back, just like Tiger and Texas and everyone else. But I think at this point in the season, we're starting to figure out who is consistent and who is not. And I've just seen more consistency from Cam Newton this season. And plus the fact that he just went off last week, I think he'll stay on that track of either consistent or elite. Even somewhere in between is a good result for the Panthers.
I agree. I was kind of hoping that it sounds like you're going with the Panthers. I think you probably are. I was really hoping you started with Baltimore in this one because I'm high on the Panthers this week.
And I'm sorry. I'm just high on the Panthers too.
I too, great minds think alike, but Baltimore, after a crushing loss at home, having to travel to Charlotte, take on a Panthers team that spirits could not be higher after such an incredible victory in Philly, heading home. I don't know. These are teams like two teams on the opposite end of the spectrum right now, and yeah, I'm riding with the Panthers on this one. I think this could be actually a pretty big victory.
Yeah, I think it could be pretty big too. Of course, you never want to count out the Ravens' defense.
Nope.
But a 2-touchdown win would not surprise me at all here.
Me either. I think the Panthers' defense is equally as legit, and I have much more faith in Carolina's offense than Baltimore's.
Yeah, that is a very valid point. Just like I keep saying, they'll just be the ones to score points because they can.
Exactly. So yeah, I think that covers the early games. Let's move on to the afternoon.
Yep. First one on here is the Colts traveling to Oakland, soon to be Las Vegas Raiders. Colts coming off that big win against Buffalo, 37-5. That was the score got me from last week. And the Raiders are still bad. So
Raiders are still bad. This is going to be a crap show. I think I'm not looking forward to this game at all. I don't think Colts Raiders is something that I don't think should ever grace my TV. I don't know. How about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I probably won't watch this game. I'll watch the highlights when they're on TV the next day. I like the Colts in this one though, simply because they're not the Raiders. And then obviously Oakland trading away arguably their best weapon and wide receiver. I'm not sure what that says though.
As tempting to call Amari Cooper their number one is, I don't know. Like, was he really their number one? That's a disappointing
That's a stretch.
one. Yeah, exactly. But regardless, they lost one of their best weapons.
Yep. And the Colts seemed to get their offense back on track last week against the Bills defense that we at least thought was kind of good.
Yeah.
I don't see that same level of talent with the Raiders. I picked the Bills last week.
You did.
Just based off their defense, but I can say with confidence that this Raiders defense is worse than that Bills defense.
Yes, I don't think anyone's disagreeing with you on that one. Yeah, if Andrew Luck's putting up 37 against a pretty solid Bills defense, it could be unwatchable what he does against the Raiders.
Yeah, the only thing I think that holds the Colts back here is the fact that they're on the road in Oakland. Always a tough environment, but
playing on the baseball field.
Yeah, but if the team's bad enough, it's.
Yeah, at some point, yeah. As annoying as I think it will be in a speed bump having to travel from Midwest to West, I like the Colts in this one.
Yeah, I like the Colts as well.
Yeah, I think pretty. I think Andrew Luck puts on another show. If I'm being honest.
Yeah, I could see that 100%.
Yeah, I like the Colts in this one. Moving on though, our next afternoon game. The San Francisco 49ers heading to Glendale, Arizona to take on the Cardinals.
Yep, this game was, we thought it would be a blowout. I feel like we say this a lot when we talk about the Niners, and now it's just another crap show between C.J. Beathard and the Cardinals. Josh Rosen, another crack at it this week after that rough game against Denver.
Man. Yeah, that was just brutal.
Do you think we see an improvement from Josh Rosen?
I'll
rephrase. It's because it's hard to not be better than he was last week.
How sizable an improvement?
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's relatively small, if we're being honest. I think Rosen just doesn't have the offensive guru around him that a young quarterback of his stature needs. I have no faith in the infrastructure surrounding him. I don't think he has great weapons. They're just an overall failure to call competent plays, and that's going to handcuff them for the rest of the year, I think.
Yep. Josh Rosen needs to learn, and he is just not doing that in this environment.
No, not at all.
However, they are at home this week against the 49ers team. Suffered a blowout loss to the Rams last week, so I think that home field advantage might help them, but I'm not sure how much it does.
Yeah, man, I don't know. I mean, the 49ers aren't in much better shape, if we're being honest. I mean, with the exception of that. I mean, we saw a pretty impressive performance versus the Packers, and then they just looked absolutely dreadful versus the Rams.
Yeah, Beathard returned to old C.J. Beathard, just injuries, and then Matt Breida can't stay healthy either.
No.
Even when he is playing, he seems to be on a very strict pitch count or just not capable of running the ball to his full potential. And that seems like just because he doesn't want to rest and recover. But the other thing is, like, can he, what are their options in San Francisco? So
really, it's not like Raheem Mostert is their backup there. So it's not things aren't looking super optimistic there in San Francisco. But time for those picks. Who do you have winning this one?
Man, this one's tough. I'm gonna take the Cardinals because they're at home.
Yes, our disagreement.
Yeah, there it is.
There we go, baby. This is the content people are looking for. I'm taking the Niners in this one. I think C.J. Beathard. We see more of Packers C.J. Beathard than Rams C.J. Beathard, and I think we see some competency, especially against a really weak Cardinals defense. And I like the Niners to take this one on the road.
All right. So we go on to, I guess, the most anticipated NFC matchup of the week. That is Green Bay traveling to LA to take on the Rams. That is a preview of my predicted NFC Championship game.
Interesting. It might be mine as well. But yeah, I think this is going to be an awesome game. But I personally did not expect at all that at this point, if we had thought about this game looking forward from the beginning of the year, the fact that the Rams are 9-point favorites. Like, the Rams are just clear and above the cream of the crop in the NFC. And even the team who I think we can all come to the consensus is solid. Not even in the same ballpark, according to Vegas.
You think there's a potential for an upset here?
I really do. I really think there's a potential for an upset. I think
enough to predict an upset.
Ooh, man, you might have me. Yeah, you might. I might be convinced as we finish through our analysis. I don't know.
What has to happen?
I mean, there's the obvious of Rodgers has to ball out, but I think there's the more layered of that is that Rodgers really has to control the clock, has to keep the LA offense off the field, and really kind of exploit what is a exploitable Rams defense. There are serious holes that I think a well-maneuvered offense could really take advantage of.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure. I have zero faith in Mike McCarthy, but I have all the faith in the world in Aaron Rodgers. So I think if the Packers are able to play ball control, keep the Rams defense on the field, and keep this from being a shootout, because end of the day, the Rams defense is still slightly better than the Packers, and if you get involved in a shootout, you're going to lose.
Yep.
And so I think the Packers have a relatively simple game plan that involves holding on to the ball and hoping for dear life that their defense is confident.
Yep. I agree with that. Long, sustained drives, and then, scoring early and as much as you can.
Yeah. I mean, if the Packers are winning this game, though, it comes from a big game from the corners. I think Jair Alexander really needs to step up. Josh Jackson needs to really step up. Kevin King really needs to step up. The leader of that unit, Clinton Dix, this is his time to really assert himself as one of the preeminent safeties in the league and a player capable of elevating the players around him.
Yep. That's what needs to happen, but I'm just not sure if it does.
Yeah.
Just struggles from Alexander and Josh Jackson all season so far. They win this game on offense, not on defense.
Yeah.
That just depends on what they can get done against the Rams defense. I agree, they definitely have some holes in the secondary, and it's been a disappointing season somewhat so far from that front. So
definitely. So I think it's time for predictions. Who are you taking?
I'm going to have to stick with the Rams. I just like their high-powered offense way too much to lose this game, especially at home.
Yeah. Man, as much as I would love to pick the Packers in this one, I think Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods are just going to do damage on a weak secondary. And I have the difference between Sean McVay and Mike McCarthy to me more than makes up for what could be. I think if Mike McCarthy was even 75% of the coaches, Sean McVay, I'd be more hesitant here, but Sean McVay is just in a different league. So yeah, I'm taking the Rams in this one as well.
If there is a chance this game does come down to play calling, and in that case, I'm obviously taking McVay.
Yeah.
Obviously, Rodgers is good enough and smart enough to figure it out.
Sure.
But I think when you have someone who's as Jared Goff, I think, is a product of the system, but he's still also pretty good.
No, definitely.
So that combined with the genius of McVay outweighs the dumbassery of Mike McCarthy and the genius of Aaron Rodgers.
I could definitely see another, similar to the Chiefs-Patriots last week. Yeah, last week. A 43-40 is just absolute gun show.
Yeah, that seems like a very legitimate possibility.
Kind of hoping for that. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that as well.
Moving on to another elite NFC matchup, Sunday night rerun of the catch. What is the name that we're giving?
Minneapolis Miracle.
The Minneapolis Miracle. Thank you. Saints traveling to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. Tell me about this one.
I just love everything I've seen from the Saints this season. Well, not everything, but especially these past few weeks. I don't want to say strong win over the Ravens because they won on that missed extra point, but still a good performance from Drew Brees against a good Ravens defense in Baltimore. And then he's just been tearing it up against everyone else this season as well. So that combined with the Vikings, I don't want to say struggles, but the Vikings definitely have not looked like the elite team we saw last year.
No.
And the Saints do. So
I can definitely get behind. Vikings 37-17 win last week versus the Jets. I think this was kind of the first game where we were like, oh man, Vikings might be better. But that was the first flashes of a NFC Championship game Vikings from last season, you know? So I'm curious if that Vikings team is here to stay. Because if they are right back in the driver's seat of the NFC North and possibly the whole league.
See, I think they definitely had a good game last week. I'm just not sure if that was here to stay. Because, like we were talking about, they were playing the Jets. So I don't know what that truly means to the Vikings.
No, I agree. Kirk Cousins showed us some stuff last week, but I think as we saw in Washington, it's easy to get lulled into these exciting Kirk Cousins games, especially when he has this stable of weapons around him. I think it's easy to get sucked into Kirk Cousins and his elite status.
Yeah, but when Drew Brees is throwing the ball to Michael Thomas and handing it off to pretty much two RB1s in Ingram and Kamara, even with that talented defense, I think the Saints offense just tires them out.
I see what you're saying, but it sounds like I think we have another disagreement on our hands. Tell me, I think not make the case, but reaffirm your position on why. I assume it sounds like you think the Saints are winning this one.
Yep, I think the Saints offense is strong enough, and the Vikings have struggled on both sides of the ball enough that the Saints can pull this one out on the road.
I like it, but I'm gonna have to disagree. I think we saw a return to form for the Vikings defense last week. I think that carries over as they travel back home to Minnesota. I think it was only a matter of time before these elite players who we had known hadn't come together as a unit to form one of the more feared groups in the league. I think it was only a matter of time before that came together again, and I think that moment has arrived. The Minnesota defense is back, Texas is back, but also the Vikings. I think they're winning this game.
All right, we'll have to see where that one goes, and with that, we move into the final game of the week. Monday night, New England making the trip to Buffalo to take on the Bills.
Yeah, this Derek Anderson looks like getting another start this week.
Yeah.
Yikes. That's
I had faith in the Bills against the Colts. That was obviously a mistake. So now I have no faith in the Bills against the Patriots. I don't, even with the okayness we've seen from the Bills, I don't see how there's any way they really win this game.
Yeah, if you're only putting up 5 points against the Colts defense, I'm having some problems for you, Chief. Oh man, I don't know what to say to a Bills fan right now. This season feels very lost, very, very in a very dark place, I think.
Yeah, there are just so many ups and downs in those first few weeks, and then now it's just like there's down and maybe there's no
light. Like there's no light at the end of the tunnel. Like Josh Allen maybe returns in a couple weeks, and you're.
But at that point, where are you?
Yeah, what are you really fighting for at that point? And so it just seems like the season from hell for Buffalo, and I think that continues this week.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think Tom Brady and the Patriots make Monday night in Buffalo miserable for the Bills and all the fans in the stadium.
I think this is like 28-3 at halftime. I think this is just going to be just a brutal showing. You
know what else was 28-3?
Tell me.
Super Bowl 51.
Interesting. How'd that one end up?
The Patriots won. They blew a lead. Or the Falcons blew a lead, and the Patriots came back.
So much like that game, I anticipate a 28-3 lead and a Patriots victory.
Awesome.
So yeah, how about you? Any disagreements?
I could totally see that 28-3 lead. Just for the sake of my own original take, I'll say it'll be 30-6.
Okay, cool.
And the Patriots win this one pretty handily.
Yeah, feels like kind of a dud on Monday night. That's really disappointing. Yeah,
it's kind of a lame way to end the podcast, for being honest.
Yeah.
With this game.
This is the one we're coming to, yeah. But that's how the football gods have decreed, so that's what we're going to have to stick with, I guess.
You have anything else to add on?
Not really. I'm ready for Sunday. Once again, I wish every day was Sunday.
Yep.
But yeah, I think it's gonna be another great week of football.
Yep. We're waking up early to watch the Eagles and the Jags from London.
You have to wake up early for this. These games are so weird. The London games are perfect. They're on. Nothing else is on. You're sitting there. I was in my robe drinking coffee and just thinking, wow, this is a weird game.
Yep. I do regret not waking up for the Chargers-Titans game last week, so I'm definitely doing it this week.
Good to hear.
Other than that, I think that about wraps up this episode of Two Kids in a Trench Coat. Enjoy football this week, and we'll be back with our Week 8 recap in a couple of days.
Have a good one.